Hello, my name is Tony Beers, and this is Movie Grades.
And just like the movies, we play out our last scene.
The movie I will review for you is Sherlock Holmes. Now, I want to first off say that I'm going to have some spoilers in this review. And secondly, I'm not a fan of Sherlock Holmes books. All I know of Sherlock Holmes is old Star Trek Next Generation episodes in which Data played Sherlock Holmes.
It's elementary, my dear Riker. Sir.
I also think that there was maybe a Sherlock Holmes cartoon that I've probably seen.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
That's my big background on Sherlock Holmes. That's as much as I know about it. It was from what I've seen in these cartoons or from Star Trek. I was probably forced to read some of the books back in school. So, the basic story is Sherlock Holmes has captured a criminal named Lord Blackwood, I think. He is sent to prison and is sent to hang, and somehow he brings himself back to life. It's up to Sherlock Holmes to find him, capture him, and explain how he cheated death. This movie stars Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law, and Rachel McAdams. Now, Robert Downey Jr., I am officially a fan of Robert Downey Jr.'s now that I've seen this, and Iron Man. Before, I've not seen too many movies with him in it, or there were movies that I did not like, so now I'm officially a fan because he is really good in this movie. He's probably the best actor in this movie. Him and Jude Law's chemistry does work well. You believe that they've been best friends for a long time. And in fact, in some scenes, it seems to be that they might be even more than friends.
They've been flirting like this for hours.
There's one scene in which Watson introduces Holmes to his fiancée, and it almost seems like he's jealous that he wants to break up their relationship so that Watson and Holmes would stay partners.
It's Lord Blackwood, sir. Well, it appears he's come back from the grave.
Very clever. I pronounce the man dead myself. I'll leave this in your capable hands. I have an appointment with Mary.
It's not my reputation that's at stake here.
Don't try that.
It's a matter of professional integrity. No girl wants to marry a doctor who can't tell if a man's dead or not.
So, Sherlock Holmes and Watson's relationship, they're almost a little bit too close, if you ask me.
Don't get excited.
But these guys are best friends, and they work together and they live together, so they're gonna be really close. All the actors do a really great job in this movie. Like I said, Robert Downey Jr. is great, and all the actors are great. I mean, there's not a bad performance in this movie. This movie has a very nice balance of action, humor.
It does make a considerable difference to me having someone with me on whom I can thoroughly rely.
What's nice to see, Watson?
And mystery.
Lord Blackwood.
The witness stated that he saw Lord Blackwood rise from the grave.
Which some movies don't have a very good balance of these three things, but this movie pulls it off very well. A few complaints I have about this movie is that in all good mysteries, the mystery gives the audience a chance to solve the mystery, or gives them clues and helps them solve the mystery of the movie itself. This is one thing I don't think the movie did well. But then again, there is a fine line of, helping the audience along to solve the mystery, and then there's this flat out holding their hands, which you don't want to do, but you don't want to just not help them out at all to find out the mystery. You want to give some clues, but you don't want to be too obvious. So I think this movie kind of fails at that on both accounts. In fact, some scenes which the mystery is quite obvious, and there's others where there's no way you can figure it out. For example, the Rachel McAdams, her character, I knew from the start that she was being controlled by a mysterious villain. And also, this mysterious villain, it's really no surprise who it is. They keep him in the dark, they don't show his face, and you can guess who it's going to be. So that part is kind of obvious. On the other hand, in some of the mysteries, it makes it quite difficult for the audience to figure out. For example, there's certain clues that Sherlock Holmes picks up that a normal moviegoer would never figure out. For example, he finds some clues like a feather, and Sherlock Holmes immediately figures out that it's an eagle's feather, which the average person would look at that and say, well, it's a bird's feather. It would be hard for someone to distinguish an eagle's feather from, I don't know, a dove's feather or any other bird. I mean, I thought that was quite amazing that he found out, it must be an eagle's feather. And another example is he finds a lion's tooth. The average person probably would not be able to tell a lion's tooth from, say, a tiger's tooth or another large cat tooth, and he seemed to know this right away, and I just thought that was kind of impossible. Another complaint I had is that as soon as they said Lord Blackwood or Blackwell, whatever his name is, as soon as they say he's come back from the dead, I'm really eager to find out the answer to the mystery. How did he come back from the dead? And they do not solve this mystery. They do not tell you how until the very end of the movie. So I was kind of disappointed with that. I wish they had shown it earlier. At one point in this movie, I thought they were going to really change things up and make the female lead Moriarty, because there is one point in the movie in which Watson says that she is as smart as Holmes and even beat him twice. That would have made an interesting switch, although the fans probably would not have liked that. And also, it would have been a surprise. It would have made it harder for the audience to figure out who the villain would be. It would be a real challenge for the audience. So, even with its flaws, this movie is pretty good. I would even have to put it in probably my top 10, only because I haven't really seen that many movies this year, and the movies that I have seen weren't too good. For example, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, G.I. Joe, and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen were all pretty bad. Well, let's face it, they suck. Sherlock Holmes is probably in my top 10 of best movies of 2009 because of this, because I haven't seen that many movies in 2009. Hopefully 2010 will be a lot better. So my final grade for Sherlock Holmes is a B-. I'm Tony Beers, and I'll see you next time.
Are we in trouble?
Watson, you have the grand gift of silence. Makes you quite invaluable as a companion.
Indubitably.